So if we can go on the record now. Please be quiet. Thank you. Okay, let's go on the record. Good evening. It is January 22nd of 2025, and the current time is 7:31 p.m. Now, the question and answer portion of the program for this case just ended. If you had questions about this case, I hope you were able to get those answered. If you still have questions after the hearing and you haven't been able to get those answered, I would ask that you contact the company, the commission staff, or the Office of the Public Counsel with your inquiries. We're going to start the public comment portion. Now, the Missouri Public Service Commission has set aside this time tonight for a local public hearing in file number ER-2024-0319, which is a general rate case captioned as, in the matter of Union Electric doing business as Ameren, Missouri's tariffs to adjust its revenues for electric service. My name's John Clark. I'm the regulatory law judge overseeing this hearing this evening, and I'm presiding over the case. Now, the Missouri Public Service Commission regulates the rates charged by investor-owned utility companies in Missouri to ensure that those rates are just and reasonable. The commission also regulates the quality of service and the safety of operations of investor-owned utilities in Missouri. The commission's made up of 5 commissioners, the chair of the commissioner, Kayla Hahn, and Commissioners Maida Coleman to my left, Jason Holzman to my right, and to my far left, Glenn Kolkmeyer. Also, Commissioner John Mitchell, Chair Hahn, and Commissioner Mitchell are not here live this evening, but they are listening online via WebEx. Additionally, this is being recorded by a court reporter who is taking down everything that's said for the commissioners to review later if they want to as well. Now, the commissioners are appointed by the governor to a fixed term, and they're confirmed by the Senate. The commissioners employ a staff of engineers, accountants, attorneys, financial analysts, and other specialists in the field of utility regulation. Commissioner Coleman, would you like to make any opening remarks?
Sure. Thank you, Judge. Good evening, everyone. As the judge noted, I am Maida Coleman. I really appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to come out tonight. We look forward to these local public hearings because it gives us an opportunity to get information on the record about the opinions of the customers of the utilities that we regulate. We know that utility issues are important to each and every one of you. We know that you take this topic seriously or you wouldn't be here. So we thank you and want you to know that no decision has been made about this case. We look forward to the information that you give us so that we are able to make a decision that has taken into consideration all of your testimony and the other evidence that we received. Thank you again for being here tonight. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. As the commissioner said, the commissioners are not going to be able to answer your questions tonight. Neither will I, and the reason for that is because the case has not been decided yet. There still has yet to be an evidentiary hearing in this case, and the commissioners can't hear anything that's not in the record. So neither them nor myself were present during the Q&A portion of this. This is our chance to hear from the public. So this is our chance to hear how you think and feel about this rate increase request by Ameren, Missouri. After the public hearings, we will possibly arrive at an evidentiary hearing, and at that evidentiary hearing, the commission will hear evidence from all the parties in regard to the rate case. There are a lot of people here tonight, and there are a lot of people that are going to want to make comments, and we want to try and get as many comments from as many people as possible. I have 38 people signed up right now. However, 40 people signed up as of right now. However, I'm going to do a hard stop at 10 o'clock because we need to relinquish the room, and the commissioners have a packed day tomorrow with an agenda as well as another presentation. So I'm going to limit everybody to 3 minutes. I will let you know when 3 minutes is up, and I'm going to ask that you quickly complete your thought so that we can get as many people in as possible speak. Also, you will see certain themes emerge. People will say some of the same concerns over and over again. To allow everybody to speak, if somebody has already expressed a concern that you want to express, you might just get up and let the commission know, hey, this other person said that this was very difficult for people on a fixed income. I would also like to point out that I am on a fixed income and share those concerns. And that way we can also speed along the time so that everybody can get a chance to comment. I'm going to call the names in the order they appear on the sheet. Then if you'll come up to the microphone, I'm going to ask you to state and spell your name for the court record. Then I will swear you in and you can offer your comments to the commission. All right, thank you all for being here this evening. And the first name I have I'm sorry, the commissioners reminded me I have forgotten to take entries of appearance, so I will do that now for the record, starting with Ameren, Missouri.
Bill Holthouse for Ameren, Missouri.
Thank you, Ameren, Missouri. For the commission staff.
Travis Pringle on behalf of staff.
On behalf of the Office of the Public Counsel.
Lindsay Van Gerpen on behalf of the OPC.
Are there any interveners present? Mr. Kaufman?
Appearing on behalf of the Consumers Council of Missouri, I'm John Kaufman.
Thank you, Consumers Council. After you've given your comments, if you can hang out at the microphone for just a heartbeat. If I have a question for you, I'll ask at that time. If the commissioners have a question for you, they will ask it anytime they like. And if the attorneys have a question, they will get my attention, and I will allow them to ask that question. So with that in mind, I'm going to call the first name on my list. If I butcher a name, please let me know, and I apologize in advance. Justin Eidelberg. Mr. Eidelberg, would you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Justin Eidelberg, Justin, last name Eidelberg, Idleburg.
And would you raise your right hand and be sworn? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commission are the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please go ahead.
My name is Justin Eidelberg, and I'm the Executive Director of Cabanne District Community Development Corporation, an organization deeply committed to advocating for equitable solutions for families, seniors, and our most vulnerable communities across Missouri. Today, I am here to address Ameren, Missouri proposed rate increase from 14 cents per kilowatt hour to 16 cents per kilowatt. We understand the context for the rate design change. The power system is changing at a pace that the industry has not experienced for decades. We may even say since the 1904 World's Fair, where electricity was shown improvement to the world, it can be used indoors. And in saying that, we want to acknowledge that even though the proposed increase at Ameren, Missouri remains 3% lesser than the national average of 19% kilowatt, we appreciate your efforts to maintain rates that are competitively affordable. However, we also must recognize that for many low-income households, seniors, and disabled individuals, even small increases energy costs have significant impacts on their quality of life, and that's why many of those St. Louis communities and rural communities are part of the Justice 40 initiative, and it's data that has stated that the majority of the city of St. Louis suffers from a range of 99% to 90% energy burden households. At the Cabanne District Community Development Corporation, we recently surveyed over 2,000 households in neighborhoods such as the West End, Academy Sherman, and Hamilton Heights. A staggering 86% of the respondents, particularly mothers, elders, reported that the energy costs repeatedly represented their highest monthly expense, often surpassing housing and food costs. For these families, these rates increase pose a serious affordability challenge. We are here today to propose that Ameren, Missouri and the Public Service Commission consider an energy access plan And one of our first things is establishing a rate-making objective. Second, and one of my favorites, how do we create a virtual power plant initiative? For those that do not know what that is to develop programs that aggregate, distribute energy resources such as residential solar panels and battery storage systems to function collectively as a virtual power plant. Participants can receive compensation contributing to the grid's stability. The benefit empowers customers to actively participate in energy markets, potentially reducing their bills and enhancing grid resilience that you all talk about, we've learned about tonight. And one of those nice things, we would like to expand net metering as well as also offer energy credits and revenue to homeowners to help offset the cost of energy bills and also to help you all with your grid expansion as we are going into this energy transition. And last but not least, how can we co-create this collectively with our stakeholders that's here today and other parts of rural and urban Missouri? I thank you. I have nothing else to say. Appreciate you all for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eidelberg. Your comments were concise. They were direct and on point. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Heidelberg. Would you tell me again the name of the organization you're the executive director of?
Cabney District, CABANNE. We got our name from the founder, John Pierre Cabney.
Okay, you said Cabney. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
Cabney District what?
Community Development Corporation.
CDC. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I wrote it down wrong.
Diane Perry?
Put it down for the short folks.
And Ms. Perry, would you state and spell your name for the record?
Diane is spelled D-I-A-N-E. My last name is P as in Paul, E-R-R-Y.
And Ms. Perry, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the Public Service Commission are the truth?
Yes,
Please go ahead.
I'm with one of the oldest Black organizations, the St. Louis County NAACP. I'm on the executive committee, but I'm not speaking from them at this time. I'm speaking as a senior citizen. I'm retired and a true St. Louis Countian. I was born in Clayton and raised in Webster Groves. I feel sorry. I went to WashU back in '72, and I saw a layout to move all the blacks out of North St. Louis County, North City, to North St. Louis County. And I was kind of shocked. We thought we had moved up. We had nice homes, just like we have in Webster. But in 2008, the car dealers moved out of the city. A lot of us who bought them homes couldn't afford them. But the real estate people let us rent from them. Okay, you got to pay rent, you lost your job, you got these high utilities. Boy, that's a lot, isn't it? That's back in 2008. Can you believe we're going back if you raise these utility bills now? That's crazy. And don't misunderstand me. I hope it ain't no Trumpers in here. We can't afford it right now. This country is in a mess. Not just our utilities, everything. And some young person said something that I was going to say. We hope it ain't a political thing. We really do. It's kind of strange. It's happening now, and we just got a new, you know what, because I don't want to say. I just know I'm a senior citizen, 5 grandkids, 1 great one. And they were fortunate enough to have parents to push them and go to college. But we can't do all of that if we have to pay high utility bills. Can't afford it. And plus, we spoiled this generation. They don't know how to hustle to suffer this, but they don't know how to get out and do. So I wish you all would kind of reconsider bringing up these bills right now. That's all this old lady got to say.
Ms. Perry, thank you very much for your comments. Julia Allen. Ms. Allen, would you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Julia Allen, Julia, capital Allen.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commission are the truth?
I do.
And what would you like to tell the commission this evening?
More or less, I want to just make a statement. I'm not trying to offend anybody or any programs that are out there that are helping people. I believe the rate increase, number one, is too high. I think that I'm a graduate from the John Warren Brown School of Social Work, so I consider myself middle class. I've also worked for the Community Action Agency in the city of St. Louis and the county. And I've also worked for the city of St. Louis in the St. Louis Area Agency on Aging. So I am familiar with a lot of the programs that are out in the community. However, what the thing that I believe is this: 1% of the population, they don't have to worry about utility bills. Those people who are below or at poverty level, our tax dollars pay for this program along with Ameren. However, the middle class, we are getting the brunt of everything. Every rate increase, it doesn't matter if it's for food, medicine, housing, we are being burdened with all of these increases. And like I said, I consider myself middle class. However, a $17 increase is just too much. I've testified at these hearings before where Ameren and it was Laclede Gas when I was testifying, they asked for rate increase. I know that, you know, you probably need a rate increase just because of the cost of doing business, and plus with COVID has made everything so much higher. However, I just think $17 is too much, or what was it, 15 point something percent, you might as well say 16%. I realized even testifying then that the Public Service Commission looked at it, but they did not give them the total amount of the raise that they asked for. They gave them a lower amount. And I'm just asking you guys, when you're doing these kinds of things, making these kinds of decisions, please think about the middle class. There are no programs out there to help the middle class. We qualify $1, $2, $15, $100 and over. The only program that I know that will help a person like me is the Metropolitan Sewer District because of their income levels. And like I said, there are no programs out there for middle income people. And we're being hit just as hard as those people who are below the poverty level. So we have to make a choice as to whether, you know, I'm gonna feed my kids, I'm gonna buy medicine. And I'll give you an example. This year, I'm on Medicare, okay. And it seems like every year that I've been working, in fact, you get a raise, and guess what's the first thing that goes up? It's your health care insurance, even as a working person. But I'm just saying, with the utility companies, I understand you all have to do business. The rate is, you know, the cost of doing business. 17% is just too much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Sheila Steed.
Thank you.
Ms. Steed, would you state and spell your name for the record?
Sheila Steed, Sheila is in David.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the Public Service Commission are the truth?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this is the first time for me to come to one of these meetings. I am glad I came. I will reiterate, I'm a senior on a fixed income. I retired in 2019, and everything seemed to have been doing okay. To defer cost, one of my cousins lived with me in order for us, because we're both senior citizens, and that will help with the cost of us living. I own the home, and the thing is that with this increase, that's putting an extra burden. I've already had an increase with Spire. In October, it went up $30. And I understand increases, but I don't understand a hop, skip, and a jump. And that's what it felt like, that I had to start paying. And I try to do some of my part. Now, I'm a senior citizen, so I don't do where I subsidize my utilities, okay? If I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I want to make sure I can use my computer when I want to, okay? So doing that is not sufficient for me. I want to be able to use my utilities when I want to. The Medicare is going up, as everybody has said, and then when they enacted that $2,000 limit, then the medicine started costing more. So it's like a yin and a yang, okay? And everything else has been going up, and I do have to admit the only utility that has helped is Metropolitan Sewer. They have a program just for disability people and for senior citizens, okay? And it does help, because for seniors, I believe they cut their bill in half for them. And then think about it. If I get sick, the older I get, the more apt I am going to get sick. Those trips to the hospital, there are medical bills, there are more drugs. And then think about it, me being a homeowner, that house, I have been in that house since 1981. Of course, things are gonna start breaking. The house was built in 1920, so even the mortar wants to leave, okay? So you have to consider, we have to pay those costs as well, you know, and if they in some way, Ameren can feel that they can create a plan that is for senior citizens, because like you all know, we're on a fixed income. We don't get raises like everybody else, okay? And then we get a raise, and then Medicare said, no, bring that over here to us, okay? So my thing is that I understand you guys have to have an increase, and I'll go along with that. But to jump like Spire did, where they jumped my bill to $30 more, that's a lot. And I do budget, and I'm paying over $100 on budget with Ameren, you know? So it would benefit us if the increase wasn't as high. I go along with everybody having to get their part of the pie. I just want a third of that pie, okay? It would actually a third of that slice, if that could be arranged. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Steed. Ben Martin?
Just a little lower, if that's okay. Sure. Thank you.
Mr. Martin, if you could state and spell your name for the record.
Ben Martin, B-E-N-M-A-R-T-I-N.
And would you raise your right hand and be sworn? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
To the best of my ability.
And what would you like to tell the commission today?
My name is Ben Martin. I'm a public school, high school science teacher here. And this rate increase, I'm going to urge you not to let it happen at all. It's going to affect us all, not just in our electric bills, but at the grocery store too, because the grocery store is going to be charged more for the electricity, and they're going to pass that down to us consumers. So this is a rate that will increase everything that I buy. I'm a father of two, trying to raise a family on a teacher's salary. And as some other people had said, you know, this is going to hurt the middle class. Any rate increase is going to hurt the middle class. And they had a rate increase just a couple of years ago. So we're going to be here 2 years from now and asking for another rate increase. What did they do with the money we gave them last time? So please, don't allow any rate increase. During the question and answer session, as a science teacher, I live near Labadie. And I asked them, is any of this money going to help protect the environment of what's being polluted out in Labadie? Because it's been recorded in newspapers that the Labadie power plant is the third worst polluter of coal power plants in our country. And they're saying that none of the money is going to help put a scrubber on top of that plant so that my kids don't have to breathe in that air. They also said that none of that money is going to remove the coal ash ponds that sit in Labadie, that sits on top of my water table. So they're asking for a large sum of money, but they're doing nothing with it. And then the last comment I have to make is that, you know, a lot of people in the question and answer period talked about the compensation that their executives make. And Ameren answered back that, look, they don't really make that much because it's all being compensated by shareholders. But if we pass this rate increase, their shares will increase. Therefore, those people who have shares, they will have more income. So yes, those executives who are being compensated by stock are going to see a lot more money because of this rate increase, because their stock value is going to go up. So it's a sly way to say what Ameren tried to pull there, that they're not going to make more money off of this. So please, don't let this happen. You are going to affect middle-class families, and I urge you not to let any rate increase happen. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Martin. Jen DeRose?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Hi, it's me again, Jen DeRose, Jennde, capital E-R-O-S-E. I promise I have different things to say than I said this morning.
Okay, that's fine. I am going to ask you to keep it brief so others can speak, though.
Absolutely. That's the main reason for why we're all here. And I
Do
hope.
you
Oh, yes.
solemnly swear and affirm that the comments you're about to give the commission are the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So the first thing I'd like to say is I hope that the turnout tonight demonstrates the need for these sorts of hearings in the city of St. Louis, ideally accessible by public transportation. I think the turnout here was incredible, especially compared to the hearing I went to earlier today in St. Charles. So I just thank you for allowing this hearing to happen. I think it's important. Let's have more of them. So we're not here all night. So my main concern is that this will disproportionately impact poor people who are already struggling with extremely high energy burden, and a lot of people have already talked about that, so I'll skip it. But the gentleman before me, who I've not met, has talked about Labadie, and I am going to talk about Labadie because the reason I bring it up is the negative externalities that Ameren creates through its coal use of the second deadliest coal plant in the country have health impacts that cost money to consumers. St. Louis has terrible ozone quality. It has terrible air quality. St. Louis County has terrible air quality. St. Charles County has terrible air quality. That has financial consequences for households. So that is not something you've considered in the past, and I understand there are certain limits to what you can do, but I would encourage in the future, I would love to see public health being considered by the commission when it comes to these rate increases and also with IRPs. Labadie has had the distinction of being the second highest CO2 emitter in the country for 4 years in a row. There were a lot of articles about it a few months ago. And during the summer heat wave of 2023, Barnes-Jewish saw an increase from 210 to 240 daily patients to 230 to 270 daily patients. And with climate change, this is just going to get worse and worse and worse. There are public health costs to allowing Ameren to make money off of us with public coal or with coal. They should be betting on renewable resources so customers don't have to shell out for fuel costs and then pay for asthma treatment. But that's not what's been happening so far. And again, I spoke a lot earlier today, so I will spare you, but I do thank you for being here. It's really moving that you showed up this morning and are here again today. I appreciate it. And I hope you'll consider those who are most in need of assistance, and I hope you give them grace, because we're dying out here. All right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Michaela Pittman? And would you state and spell your name for the record?
Sure, my name is Mahala Pittman, Mahala Pittman.
I'm sorry I mispronounced your name.
That's all right, I'm used to it.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to offer to the commission are the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Mahala, and I am the regional field organizer for the Sierra Club. I am grateful for the opportunity to speak at today's public hearing and would like to thank the PSC for holding public hearings, which are necessary for the communities that you serve. I work for the Sierra Club, but I am here as an individual to tell you about the powerful opportunity I had to create a deep canvassing campaign speaking to impacted community members in energy-burdened neighborhoods. So in grassroots organizing, deep canvassing is a powerful tactic. We are going door to door. We are on the ground speaking to people in marginalized communities. So we use a script centered around a 0 to 10 question. And in our script, the question is on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being powerless. How much power do you feel you have as an individual to have a say on the decisions Ameren makes that impact your communities? So in 6 months of canvassing, June through November, we saw an average pre-rating of 2 to 3. So what does that tell us? That tells us that people who are experiencing high levels of energy burden feel completely powerless against monopoly utilities.
Is that 2 to 3% of those?
No, the pre-rating from 0 to 10 is a 2 to 3. So 0 being powerless, like that pre-rating is.
Okay, so this is based upon your polling between 1 and 10. This is okay. Thank you.
Yeah, the average pre-rating came out to a 2.33 something, 2 to 3.
Thank you. I was just trying to follow the number.
Yeah, absolutely. So after speaking with so many people experiencing energy burden, I can tell you that what I'm hearing from the public is the little power they do feel comes from what's within their sphere of control, which means taking unrealistic means to keep their energy down. I heard many stories in my time on the doors, such as people abandoning their HVAC systems in heat waves, unplugging major appliances such as refrigerators and hoping that it does not compromise their household's food supply overnight, buying battery-powered push lights and putting them all over their home so they do not have to turn their lights on at nighttime, in cold months, leaving the oven open and on, or resorting to space heaters, which we know are fire hazards. Raising energy rates would only increase the dangerous lengths St. Louis families have to resort to in order to keep the lights on. Houses in St. Louis are around 100 years old on average, and landlords have minimal incentives to improve the energy efficiency of their buildings, as they are not the ones who pay the energy bills. Tenants are not able to make many improvements to weatherize their units, and that leaves renters with very little ability to manage their energy consumption. Energy-burdened families resort to drastic measures, including not using air conditioning in high heat, which can be deadly. These families should not be sacrificed for shareholder profits. Energy-burdened communities are suffering. A rise in rates, especially ahead of the heat waves we have come to expect in July and August, will be detrimental and even dangerous for residents. Please do not allow Ameren to raise rates on vulnerable populations. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Catherine Padilla. Catherine Padilla. Yeah, I think the double L is pronounced as a Y. Elise Schaefer. And Ms. Schaefer, would you state and spell your name for the record?
Elise Schaefer, E-L-Y-S-E, last name Schaefer, S-C-H-A-E-F-F-E-R.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much for being with us in person tonight, Commissioners. My name is Elise Schaefer, and I am testifying on behalf of Missouri Coalition for the Environment this evening. I have already submitted written testimony electronically, so you have access to the sources I make in statements today, the sources I reference in statements I'm making. Missouri Coalition for the Environment is a nonprofit, nonpartisan advocacy organization that seeks to empower Missourians to protect their environment and their health. Ameren's proposed rate increase must not be granted while the company continues to poison our air, water, and well-being. Instead of investing in clean, reliable, cost-effective renewable energy, Ameren continues to operate harmful coal plants and build expensive, unreliable methane or natural gas plants, both detrimental to the environment and health of all Missourians. Ameren should not be allowed to charge a single dollar more from ratepayers until their $1 billion annual revenue has been used to create a power grid that emits 0 greenhouse gases. Ameren executives should not be allowed to continue to profit from harming our citizens, our air, and our water. Solar power, wind power, and importantly and unmentioned as of yet tonight, utility-scale battery storage units would allow the company to provide cheaper energy without harming Missourians' health. For these reasons, I urge the Public Service Commission to vote no on this rate increase. Now is the time to aggressively pursue renewable energy infrastructure. Solar and wind are among the cheapest and most reliable energy sources on the market today. Moreover, solar power has shown a reliable decrease in costs for both utilities and for ratepayers. These costs could be further lowered if Ameren incorporates battery storage into their grid, and if the company applied for the U.S. Department of Energy's Energy Infrastructure Reinvestment Program. Ameren is leaving millions of dollars from the federal government on the table while asking everyday Missourians to pay more for a necessary utility. It is not as if ratepayers are hesitant about renewable energy either. 98 customers expressed interest in Phase 2 of Ameren's current Renewable Solutions Program, though the company only subscribed 8 customers with that service. MCE feels strongly that expanding cost-saving renewable energy infrastructure while maximizing publicly available dollars should be a prerequisite for Ameren to increase costs for consumers. And yet, Ameren's most recently approved infrastructure project was a methane gas plant, or a natural gas plant, as the company refers to it. Methane gas is a finite resource and a fossil fuel, and has extremely volatile pricing, is unreliable to the point of being deadly in extreme cold, and its emissions trap over 82.5 times more heat than carbon dioxide. Meanwhile, the company also continues to operate the Labadie coal plant. My colleagues at Sierra Club have already mentioned how harmful this is and how it continues to warm the planet and harm our health. Last year was the hottest year on record in human history. It was closely beat out by the last hottest year on record, 2023. In my lifetime, the city of St. Louis will be experiencing over 50 days per summer that are over 100 degrees, and at least one day that reaches 125 degrees. You may not know that heat is already the deadliest weather event in the country. Increasing temperatures will make this worse. It is your responsibility as members of the PSC to ensure that Missourians receive safe utilities. This is clear from the first sentence in your mission statement. Unless the PSC takes action now to require more responsible energy production from Ameren, more people will die. This is not an exaggeration. Heat deaths are predicted to rise by 370% in just the next 25 years. Ratepayers should not be asked to pay a premium for Ameren to harm our health and the environment in which we live, work, and recreate. Others have already covered comprehensively high executive compensation that must be addressed. And in conclusion, Missouri Coalition for the Environment respectfully urges the PSC to vote no on this rate increase in order to hold Ameren accountable to their ratepayers by only allowing an increase in rates if there is an investment in a more secure energy future. Thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any follow-up questions you have.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Schaefer. Michael Berg.
Oh, my name's Michael Berg, Michaelberg. I live in St. Louis, and I'll keep my comments brief. I do not think Ameren, oh, I got to,
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the Commissioner are the truth?
yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, so I do not believe Ameren deserves anywhere close to the level of profit they're asking for from their investments, because I'm looking at the situation, looking at this massive fines, $61 million for Rush Island, the refusal for years and years to put modern pollution controls on the Labadee plants, the issue of the toxins in St. Charles. We should have it so that there's some sort of cost on the executives and the shareholders, and not put the burden on, so much of the burden on the ratepayers. So I do not deserve this level of rate increases deserved. That's all.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Berg. Ben Molina. Mr. Molina, would you state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, Ben Molina, B-E-N-M-O-L-I-N-A.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the Commission are the truth?
Yes.
Okay, go right ahead.
Good evening. My name is Ben Molina, and I am chair of Hispanic Leaders Group. We are an advocacy and civic organization advocating for the Latino community here in the St. Louis region. When the news of this proposed rate increase came out, many in the Hispanic and Latino community share their concerns, not just for themselves, but for their families and also for their neighbors and the people they serve. This is the primary reason I'm here today, because that community is not likely to come out to these type of hearings. However, these higher electricity bills would have a heavier burden for families who are already struggling to make ends meet. And while I'm here to speak on behalf of the Hispanic community, I know this issue affects all communities in our region, because the rising cost of living is something everybody is feeling right now. For many Latino and Hispanic families, paying for electricity takes up a bigger share of their income compared to other groups. A rate increase like this would only make it harder for families who are already stretched thin. On top of that, our community is especially vulnerable during extreme weather, like what we've seen here in the last couple of weeks. Winters in St. Louis are brutal, and so are summers. In those situations, having reliable electricity for heating and cooling isn't just a convenience, it's a necessity for staying safe. Families are already having to choose between keeping their homes safe or paying for other essentials like food or medicine. Increasing rates will only make this worse. Earlier I asked about language access because there's also the issue of language barriers. Many of the programs that are supposed to help families with energy costs are not accessible to those who don't speak English fluently, and often these are the folks that need it the most. So without information and support in their language, these programs have a limited ability to help because folks can't access them, putting them further into the hole when rates increase. We understand that Ameren is making investments in infrastructure and in renewable energy, but those improvements shouldn't come at the cost of the most vulnerable members of our community. So I urge Ameren to find other ways to address this issue, solutions that don't put an even heavier burden on those who can't afford it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Molina. I apologize if I butcher your name. Ryan Schallert? And again, I apologize if I butchered your name.
Hi, I'm Ryan Schallert, St. Louis City resident.
And would you spell your name for the record, please?
Yeah, S-C-H-A-L-L-E-R-T.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the Commission are the truth?
Yes.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to speak. As I said, my name is Ryan Schallert. Everyone testifying here today obviously opposes this rate increase and have already made great points, so I'll try to keep this short and sweet. I understand that both Ameren's operating costs and infrastructure investments have been increasing. Inflation has affected both businesses and individuals alike. The Consumers Council of Missouri reported that over the past 3 years, Ameren's residential customers have experienced significant increases in their bills, outpacing both national inflation and local wages in the same period. Additionally, the commission staff, who has conducted studies and research regarding the issue, has recommended 10% lower increase than the figure that Ameren has presented. I thank you for your efforts to regulate and keep rate increases in check to protect Missouri citizens, and just want to encourage you to think carefully about the testimonies you hear tonight and the data that has been presented. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Rajiv Ravalupati? Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah.
And if you would state and spell your name for the record.
Yeah, my name is Rajiv Ravalupati. My first name is spelled R-A-J-I-V. Ravalupati is spelled R-A-V-U-L-A-P-A-T-I.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to offer to the commission are the truth?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
I'm speaking today as a private citizen. I live here in the city of St. Louis, right over here in the Hill. I will keep my points. I echo the similar comments. My comment is general to not approve this rate increase, but the harsh reality is a rate increase is going to happen. How much of it is going to happen? I don't know, but we as consumers are going to have to swallow it. And every 2 years, we swallow more and more and more. And there was a lot of questions earlier directed at the utility. I have a couple of comments and questions really more so focused at the commission and its staff. Your mission statement says you want to provide reliable utility service that is just, reasonable, and affordable. Do any of us in this room feel like the American life is affordable anymore? These rates, I'm lucky. I make a 6-figure salary, and I can afford these kind of things. And I do believe that we should have service upgrades and infrastructure upgrades when they are warranted. But if this rate increase is going to happen, there are options for, as a consumer, that we can try and do to offset some of those costs. We can do demand-side management solutions, have energy efficiency measures. And I will actually give credit to the utility where they actually wanted to keep, there was a filing on the MIA filing, the Missouri Energy Efficiency Investment Act, to keep our state-run utility energy efficiency programs. Ameren actually wanted to keep them, but the commission voted to remove them. So there is not going to be any more utility incentive programs for us residential consumers for both commercial or residential, just low income eligible through 2025. So our options to even make our homes energy efficient to offset these increased rates, they're eliminated.
And I hate to interject here. I'm not sure you're correct on that, and I did not oversee the Ameren MIA case, but
I'm just going off one of the interveners, what they've provided the context for me. Two, I'd be curious just to learn more detail, more transparency on how exhaustive the PSC puts investor-owned utilities through to showcase how exhaustive is your process to ensure you've gone through every option possible to not warrant a rate increase. I know the utility has stated that they're continuing to look at Inflation Reduction Act opportunities, but we have a new president in place. 2 days ago, one of his first executive orders was to halt any further disbursement from the Inflation Reduction Act as well as the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act for the next 90 days, both pending awards as well as currently funded contracted projects. And those affect both utilities, policymakers, community-based organizations who are seeking that money. It's a delay tactic, but also I think there's going to be a concerted effort to claw that money back, which is concerning. So that is generally my 3 main points that I wanted to hit. I know this rate increase is going to happen, but I do urge the commission to think a bit more about how exhaustive you're going to put the utility through in order to approve these kind of rate increases. Because we're going to be hit with a rate increase. That's just the reality. but it's hard to keep swallowing this every 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Judge Clark, just one.
Can you hold on just a second, Mr. Ravnapati?
Yeah, sir.
Ravnapati?
Not
One of the
necessarily,
attorneys has a question for you.
Not necessarily a question, just wanted to give you the case number for the commission order on MIA for your own review.
I've got it.
You do have it, the
Yeah.
EO 2023-0136.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pringle. Joan Hubbard?
Yeah, that's good.
Ms. Hubbard, would you state and spell your name for the record?
Joan, Joan, Hubbard, Hubbard.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
I do.
Please go ahead.
I'm here tonight speaking on behalf of the League of Women Voters, along with 3 of my members. So there are 4 of us here tonight. The League supports energy policies that reduce energy growth rates, emphasizing energy conservation and encourage the use of renewable resources. The League also supports rate-setting policies for utilities with assistance for low-income individuals when energy policies bear unduly on the poor. We appreciate the opportunity to comment at this public hearing on Ameren's rate increase of roughly $17 per month for those using 1,011 kilowatt hours of usage. Ameren has recently had a series of rate increases. In addition, the Public Service Commission has just approved 2 fuel adjustment clauses, both ER-2024-025 and EQ-2024-0277, and the Renewable Energy Standard Rate Adjustment Mechanism, resulting in additional costs for residential customers. The accumulation of additional rate increases will increase the energy burden for people who are already the most vulnerable, the low income, fixed income, and minority communities. Ameren Profits has seen increased earnings that is reflected in their infrastructure investments and the new electric service rates. The League would urge the PSC, the Public Service Commission, to consider the increased energy burden and help their lower income customers to control their costs. We ask that you embrace renewables and become more efficient. And we ask that you review the timing of projects to reduce the need for this increase. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Dana Gray?
Hello.
And would you state and spell your name for the record?
Dana, D-A-N-A, Gray, G-R-A-Y.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the Public Service Commission are the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm Dana Gray. I live here in the city of St. Louis, and I am the Community Development Outreach Coordinator for Tower Grove Community Development Corporation. We're an affordable housing provider in the city, and we provide real estate and other services to the community to help stabilize the area. I have submitted comments online through the EFIS system. They were comments that were shared by our community members, concerns about the rate increase as proposed, and all of them were sharing their concerns about how are they going to meet their household budget, because most of our community members are between 50 to 80% of the area median income, so they are on very tight budgets. And you all will be able to read those, so I'm not going to recite what they have shared. But I also wanted to also bring up what Rajiv had commented on about the MEAC. And I'm wondering if the commission will reconsider supporting the utilities energy efficiency programs going forward if the federal government does renege on the IRA and BIL programs that are supporting energy efficiency improvements. I hope you'll give that consideration.
And as I indicated earlier, the commission can't answer questions this evening.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Bear with me just a moment.
Jeanette Madam Representative.
Oh,
I'm going to bring the microphone to you.
Ms. Oxford?
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Jeanette, your handwriting is getting bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. Arthritis.
I had a hard time reading it. Commissioner Coleman helped me. Thank you very much.
I remembered that I was after Dana, so I was boosting myself up.
Would you state your name for the record?
It's Jeanette, Jeanette, Mott, M-O-T-T, Oxford, O-X-F-O-R-D, better known by the nickname J-Mo by about half the people in the room.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
I do. Well, like many people who've spoken before, I'm also a senior citizen who receives Social Security, so I got my letter in December telling me that I had a 2.5% increase in my Social Security check. I also got a 4.5% increase, I believe, from Mosers for my state retirement check as a retired legislator. And I was very grateful for that, but 2.5% or 4.5%, a nearly 16% increase in my electric bill, that's just a whole lot higher. And I think it's really important that you all have come here tonight to play your essential role as folks that evaluate what's a fair rate for an investor-owned monopoly utility company to charge us. So thank you very much for coming out and hearing the public on this matter. It's really important that that we do have laws in Missouri that have helped hold down the rates, as Mr. Woods mentioned earlier, that we do better than some states. And I think that's because you all have been playing an oversight role, and that the companies have to justify why they're raising the rates so much. Because I do have more than one source of retirement income, it's an inconvenience for me if my rates went up this much, but it really is desperate for a lot of other people. And I'd like to share especially someone who couldn't be here tonight, a 69-year-old woman in Soulard who has a disability, who's a member of my church, a friend of our church, who makes less than $900 a month on SSI. And she asked me to tell you, her name is Mary C. O'Connell. She asked me to tell you she cannot afford a 16% raise in her utility bills. I often deliver donations to Isaiah 58 Ministries, a food pantry on South Grand. I share resources with the Winter Outreach, Blessings in a Bag, and Joint Neighborhood Ministries to help unhoused neighbors. And I know how often high utility bills take a person from that point where they're just precarious about their housing security to becoming unhoused. Often finding low rent means your utility bills are going to be high, because low rent almost always means no insulation, no weather stripping, no energy efficient furnace. So there are many, many people who cannot afford this kind of a rate increase. How many? The Who Pays report from the Institute for Taxation and Economic Policy says that 1 out of 5 of Missouri's non-elderly households has annual earnings of less than $20,900 annually, with an annual average for that group of $12,100. So there's just a whole lot of folks that can't afford this. You might say, well, Ameren doesn't serve the whole state, but the Ameren area has some of the highest poverty rate counties in the state. And you can see that on the poverty report published by the Missouri Community Action Network. I'd like to share this in writing, hand it in to you all to go into the record, because it cites the websites, and so I would appreciate being able to do that. I'd also like to share a brief remark from Reverend Deacon Barbara Click of the Trinity Food Ministry. She was ill and had planned to be here tonight and share this with you, and she asked that I share her comments that the majority of people they share there at Trinity are oddly called the working poor, meaning they work but wages are so low that they remain at under the poverty rate, and many of our community members live on fixed wages. Many people live in houses that are in need of repairs. I personally know a great many people who suffer through high humidity and high temperatures with their air conditioning shut off because they cannot afford the current usage rate. To increase that rate to above 15% would be even more onerous. People come to the pantry for food because too often they must make a choice between food and rent or food and utilities. I know others who've had their electricity cut off for non-payment. Imagine them now in this deadly weather. In 2023, the poverty rate in St. Louis was 19.8%, 1.5 times higher than the state of Missouri, where on average it's 12%. No one likes price hikes. However, it's not a matter of liking or disliking that with a 19.8% poverty rate here. It's a matter of being able to maintain basic human needs that keep us alive and striving. So I'd also like to share Reverend Deacon Click's letter to go into your record, if that's all right.
Okay, if you want to bring those up here, I would be happy to.
Okay, thank
or
you.
If you can give them to Forrest there,
All right,
you can bring them up.
thanks. Thank you very much.
And I'm going to designate your first one with your name at the top as Commission Exhibit 1 for the purposes of this hearing. And for the purposes of this hearing, I'm going to submit your letter from Reverend Click as Exhibit 2. So Commission Exhibit 1 and 2 are a part of this local public hearing record. And thank you for your comments. Jack Johnson?
Great day. Thank you.
And
for
Mr.
being
Johnson, would you state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, Jack Johnson, J-A-C-K. Last name Johnson, J-O-H-N-S-O-N.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Great, thank you. First, I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for the work that you do. I do want to make these statements, not just on my behalf, as a personal person. I can actually afford the right, but I work within the community through my fraternity and through other neighborhood organizations, and we work with people who cannot afford this. One of the main purposes is that when we do go forth and try to help people with their services, we try to look at resolutions. One of the points I do want to bring out is that Ameren is a top-rated company, Fortune 500 company, privately owned, in which the two gentlemen kept stating it's not about the shareholders, yet in their recommendation, the ROE is speaking about the shareholders wanting 9.7%. So it is about the shareholders, it is about capital. One of the other statements that I do want to go on record is stating that there's really no justification for this rate hike. As others have stated, in the last 2 to 3 years, we have had to increase. They've increased our rate, but there has not been any changes. There is no justification. They did not send us anything about where they're going to use this rate hike money to benefit us, as utility customers. The third point I want to make is to go on the record. As a business owner, I look within my business to change my infrastructure before I decide to raise my rates. Has Ameren UE did that? Especially when you have a CEO who gets more than $9 million, $2 million salary, whereas there's other $4 to $5 million in bonuses and things of that nature. How can we start there before you start rate hiking? People cannot afford this. So also for the record, I want to state that one of the major issues with this rate hike is that we are an economy that is suffering at this point in time. So as a business, take that in consideration with your customers, as well as the ones who are going to be future customers. You need to take that in consideration, because not only, as everybody else has stated, and I want to go on the record, when you raise these rate hike, you not only affect that resident, you affect the businesses, you affect the economy, you affect their children, you affect businesses like me. So I do implore that the commission really take in consideration, is this a need? If there's not a need for this rate hike, it shouldn't happen. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for your comments.
You're right, appreciate it.
Excuse me. Nick Miller.
Hello, Nick Miller, Nickmiller.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commissioner are the truth?
I do.
Okay.
A lot of people have already said what all of us are thinking. Nobody wants this rate increase. Nobody. I wish you guys could have been here earlier, because there were twice as many people here, and I think most of them thought that they were giving you guys information. So I just want to put on record that there were a lot more people here that thought that they were talking to you guys. So me personally, I work in the film industry. I work in LA and New York, and I make LA and New York rates. So I do well. My wife works at Merrill Lynch. We do good. It's still hard for us. It's hard for everyone. Everyone right now is having problems. We don't want you guys to increase these rates. A lot of people before were talking about the CEO making $8 million, $9 million, whatever, and they justified it by saying he's smart. Somebody else mentioned that they're putting advertising at the Blues games and things like that. How smart is it that Ameren's spending money on advertising when I have no choice? It's not like Coke and Pepsi, I get to pick one. It's only Ameren, that's my only choice. Why are you spending money on advertising? That's not very smart. Maybe we need to spend less money and not do a rate increase. Thank you.
Thank you. Alicia Russell.
Hello.
And would you state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Elysia Russell, ELYSIA-RUSSELL.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commissioner are the truth?
Yes.
Okay. And what would you like to tell the commission this evening?
Yes, good evening. My name is Elysia Russell, Sustainability Director for the City of St. Louis. First, I'd like to thank the commissioners for your time this evening. It came to my attention that the St. Louis City was not originally one of the locations for an in-person hearing, so I appreciate the commission's scheduling flexibility, as I know you all are very busy. And as most are aware, the St. Louis region makes up the majority of Ameren's customer base and will be impacted most by this proposed rate increase. So city residents must have the opportunity to participate in the fullest extent, and I appreciate everyone's comments earlier. While I understand that rate increases are necessary from time to time as costs of operations increase and new technology must be implemented, increased electric rates can increase the energy burden of a household that is already struggling to pay their bills and maintain comfortable temperatures inside. Over half of St. Louis City households are occupied by renters, yet renters have the least control over their energy burden. They are not in charge of upgrading HVAC systems or completing other building envelope improvements, but they're the ones paying the electric bill. With most of the city's housing stock predating the 1940s, significant HVAC and weatherization improvements must be done over time to ensure that buildings operate efficiently. High energy bills have a cascading effect when we look at compounding the effects of high energy burden with other environmental impacts, such as extreme weather, like we've recently experienced. Other areas often areas with high energy burden, meaning they're paying more than 10% of their annual income just on these energy bills, also have higher rates of asthma, higher urban heat temperatures, more heat-related illnesses, and more inequities that cause someone to choose between running their air conditioner, if they have one, or paying their medical bills. As someone who grew up in a household that experienced the struggle of paying energy bills, I understand firsthand the feeling and the lasting impact these difficult choices have on families. For example, some residents may huddle all together in one room with a window unit during the heat waves of summer just to cool off, or go to even more extreme measures that are very dangerous, just to prevent their electric bill from skyrocketing. In addition to financial stress, residents may dread going home because school or work is much more tolerable of an environment. Residents will be forced to make difficult decisions such as paying their electric bill or buying groceries for their families. The list goes on, and the cascading effects are detrimental. This can lead residents to become trapped in generational poverty, lead to evictions, and eventually become unhoused. Ameren has already asked for a rate increase in the past 2 years. Asking for another increase is excessive. The City of St. Louis is open to working with the PSC to identify ways to remove barriers to make true community solar and storage more accessible in our region, so it's no longer a premium service for the wealthy. Based on our regional transmission area, we are in a prime area to receive optimal sunlight to power homes and businesses through solar. We've seen great things Ameren has been able to do in Ameren regarding solar power. We must do the same here in Missouri. Reliable energy means renewable energy. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Russell. Legal Services of Eastern Missouri.
Hello, my name is Abby Leonard, ABBIELEONARD.
And Ms. Leonard, on behalf of Legal Services of Eastern Missouri, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the Commission are the truth?
Yes.
And what would you like to tell the Commission this evening?
So hello, my name is Abby Leonard. I'm a social worker at Legal Services of Eastern Missouri and a St. Louis City resident. Legal Services of Eastern Missouri, LSEM, is a nonprofit legal aid organization that has offered free legal services to low-income Missourians for over 60 years. We advocate with and for clients that are most often unrepresented by many of the infrastructure systems that are in place to benefit us all. As utility companies such as Ameren are trying to upgrade technology and move toward more sustainable resources, consumers bear the brunt of the costs while the company continues to reap profits. Ameren has filed for a rate increase with the PSC 3 times in 38 months, including this case, resulting in substantial upward adjustments to electric rates for its customers, like others have spoken about. The proposed rate increase perpetuates a cycle in which urban, rural, and low-income communities, as well as communities of color, disproportionately pay for most of the changes to the infrastructure systems, while affluent communities benefit from these improvements. Because of this disparity, the proposed rate increase will result in higher costs for low-income Missourians and increased environmental, social, and economic harm to the clients that LSEM serves. We have seen no significant decrease in the number of clients and prospective clients struggling to afford utilities, despite exhaustive efforts to connect them with available assistance programs. The stark reality is that these programs are failing to provide meaningful relief. Since the last rate increase, LSEM has directly represented 1,375 households facing housing insecurity, while nearly 5,500 additional callers desperate for help could not be served. Nearly all of these households report an inability to keep up with their utility bills, highlighting a systemic failure. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Clients across all of our programs grapple with the same unaffordable burden, underscoring the urgent need for Ameren to implement effective solutions rather than relying on inaccessible assistance programs that leave thousands without relief. We insist that access to power is a necessity and that electricity is a fundamental human right. Denying the Ameren rate increase request will sustain the health, livelihoods, and futures of low-income Missourians and communities of color. LSEM urges the Commission to reject the request for an electricity rate increase, thereby encouraging increased access to a resource such as power. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Leonard. Joe Burkett? Oh, no, I'm good. Thank you. Mr. Burkett, would you spell your name for the record?
Sure. Joe, J-O-E, Burkett, B-U-R-K-I-E-T-T.
I'm sorry, how did you pronounce it? Burkett?
Burkett, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the Commission are the truth?
I do.
Okay. And what would you like to tell the Commission this evening?
First, thank you for the opportunity to speak about Ameren, Missouri's proposed rate hike. What I'd like to do is propose alternatives that do not burden the working class families and then address the financial health and spending priorities of Ameren as reflected in their recent financial disclosures. Ameren can balance its financial goals without raising rates by capping executive bonuses and aligning compensation with public utilities' mission to serve communities affordably, reallocating unnecessary expenditures from areas like luxury fleet vehicles to customer-focused investments, reevaluating capital projects to prioritize essential infrastructure needs over less critical expenses. Excuse me. A lot of people touched on these numbers, so I'm just going to go over them very quickly. Ameren reported a net income of $975 million for 2004, continuing its trend of strong financial performance. Let's see what else. Their top executives earn exorbitant salaries and bonuses. The CEO alone made over $8 million. We've already talked about this. Ameren prioritizes rewarding executives and investors while asking customers to pay more for essential services. Redirecting even a portion of these funds to offset operational costs would mitigate the need for rate increases. While Ameren cites increased infrastructure investments as reason for their earnings growth, their spending choices raise concerns. I don't know if anybody's seen down at the Ameren headquarters, the security vehicles they have are Ford Mustang EVSs. And while I understand that that may align with sustainability goals, that's far from necessary. There are much more affordable EVS cars out there. Ford Mustangs for security, that's ridiculous, right? Their operating expenses alone included $520 million for other operations and maintenance. I say that in quotes in Q3 2024 alone. That could be scrutinized for savings. Ameren increased its capital expenditures by over $450 million year over year, an area ripe for careful review to cut non-critical projects. Ameren claims to focus on affordability while increasing dividends and expanding capital projects that benefit shareholders more than ratepayers. These contradictions highlight an opportunity to find efficiencies and savings without relying on increased rates that disproportionately affect working families. I also learned some new information about the Public Service Commission tonight that makes me wonder who you are working for. And I know you can't answer questions, but just something to think about. You only want to cut $40 million off of the 446 million? How out of touch are you with how it is to work and live in the real world? I urge the Public Service Commission to carefully review Ameren's financial practices and consider alternative solutions that do not place undue financial burdens on Missouri residents. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Joe Bonlier? Is there any Joe whose last name begins with a B? I'm sorry? Number 23? Yes.
Sorry, bad
I am
handwriting.
sorry, I'm having a hard time reading your name. What's your name, sir?
Joe Ponzillo, Ponzillo. Sorry about the handwriting. Fell out a window.
Spell it one more time, please.
P like Paul, O like Oscar, N like Nancy, Z like zebra, ILLO.
Okay. Again, I apologize.
That's fine.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commission are the truth?
Aye.
And what would you like to tell the commission this evening?
Tonight, after leaving this meeting, I will be going to at a shelter, specifically the Ferguson Warming Shelter in St. Stephen's Church. I do that on top of my 9-to-5 job during the winter. I've been doing similar work with a variety of groups for about 5 years now, including groups like Winter Outreach St. Louis, Pop Bangers, a Red Circle. Specifically, with respect to one of my colleagues in the audience, he'll be testifying later. His name's Chris. We worked on a utility assistance program. I did it as a volunteer. When I did that, I encountered individuals who were at risk of becoming unhoused as a result of burdensome utilities payments, some numbering in the thousands. The funds were insufficient in some cases, and I do not know the outcome of what happened. In my experience, having done unhoused outreach, I have encountered people who have lived in warehouses that have been infested with rats. If you want pictures, I'm more than willing to show them to you. Later on, those individuals in those same warehouses, in single-degree weather, had to choose between staying in a warehouse where the only source of heat was an oil drum fueled by the remnants of a pallet that I broke with what I had in my car, or being separated from their service dog and possibly either having their service dog die or having them all die due to insufficient heating. When I spoke earlier, I was talking with somebody who had previously justified Ameren's executive receiving $9 million per year. I think that the sheer lack of priorities is almost criminal in terms of justifying such outrageous salaries while they're individuals who are paying their utilities to a company who are at risk of becoming homeless. While I've done this type of work, I've seen people die. I've seen people die due to exposure. When the temporary homeless encampment that was just north of the Edward Jones Dome, I forget the name of the building, but it has the giant Vess bottle out front. It's by 170. When that one was shut down in 2021, the next morning I found an individual who went by the name Big Dog. I didn't know his actual name. People don't share them that much. Dead about 600 feet from the Ameristar Casino in between the list of abandoned buildings. One of them, I believe actually two of them, had burned down, but that was after finding his body. I do not have faith that the commission will protect the interests of the people of the city and of the state in terms of ensuring that families do not go unhoused, especially in weather like this. And frankly, I have lost faith in the American political and economic system entirely. If you have any questions, feel free, but I'm going to head out and go to said shelter at St. Stephen's in Ferguson and do an overnight there, and then tomorrow I will wake up and do a 8-hour workday. So have a good night.
Thank you very much for your comments. Rena and Alan Lyles. Are the Lyles here? Chris Suddick.
Hi, that's Christopher Sudlick, CHRISTOPHER, SUDLIK.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
So earlier tonight, Ameren came in and they told a story. They told a story about them being a corporation. They're just doing their level best to provide us reliable electricity at the lowest rates possible. But that's not the only story they tell. And everybody here believed it and responded to that story in their comments. There's the other story they tell, however, is to their shareholders. And I have in my hand the shareholders report from 2023, the latest up on their website. And it doesn't tell the story of a company that's struggling or that's just barely doing what's necessary to keep rates down and to keep delivering reliable power. What they say instead is that from 2013 to 2023, their core earnings per diluted share went from $2.08 a piece to $4.41, a 112% increase. They also say that from 2013 to 2023, the dividends per share went from $1.60 to $2.52, most of that since 2021 in the past 3 years, a massive and accelerating increase of 58%. And then in this final graph from the second page of the shareholders report, they have listed the total shareholder return. And to be helpful, they've listed it right next to the S&P 500's total shareholder return over that same period from 2013 to 2023. The S&P 500, the free market capitalism, had a return of 135%. Ameren, a public utility and a monopoly that should be regulated to prevent any such massive gains off of the public, had a return of 173%, almost 40% higher than the S&P 500.
And I apologize, would you say what the S&P number was again?
135%.
Thank you.
So what this shows us is a corporation making massive profits and massive returns, and then turning around and lying to the people of the city and telling them that they are doing their best to deliver affordable power, when what they are doing instead is doing their best to deliver enormous returns to already incredibly rich people. We've heard testimony tonight from poor and struggling people. Today, the Post-Dispatch had an article that 171,000 people in the St. Louis area are behind on their rates, are at risk of having their power shut off. What we're talking about with this rate increase is mass social murder, is the execution and the criminal attack on the working people of this city, on the retired, on the seniors, on the elderly and disabled, in order to give greedy parasites and cannibals unlimited free money so that they can feed off of the hardworking people of this state. I implore you to not approve this rate increase, but I know you're going to anyways. So what I want to do is implore everybody else in this room to start attending events. Go to the DSA, go to the PSL, go to the Sunrise Movement. Organize against these corrupt and absolutely unsavable people who are going to screw and kill more of our neighbors and more of the citizens of this state for the profits of people like him and some of them. That's all I have to say.
That 171,000 number, you said that was in today's Post-Dispatch, is that correct?
It might have been yesterday, as I saw the article today.
But it was in the last 2 days?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sudlick, for your comments.
Would you like the sheets?
I would love them. Would you like me to make these a hearing exhibit? There are 5 pages, and I'm going to put them together as a single exhibit for the purpose of this LPH, and this will be Commission Exhibit 3, and will be attached to the transcript. Garrett Ferrazzo, or Finazzo, I apologize if I'm mistaking an R for an N or vice versa.
Garrett Finazzo.
Thank you, Mr. Finazzo. And would you spell your name for the record?
Garrettfinazzo.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the Commission are the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Like many other people, I wanted to thank you all for being here for these hearings. I know that you guys at the Public Service Commission genuinely do care what people think and how these rate increases affect regular folks. And I know that because of your actions. In 2023, Ameren was seeking a 13% rate hike. You guys listened to people and only came back with 6%. That was fantastic. I also know from the actions of our state legislature and governors past and present that our state government cares a lot more about the welfare of businesses than regular people. And as some of the people here have testified already, this is going to affect a lot of small business owners. 15% increase hits them a lot harder than it hits a lot of us because their costs, their energy costs are a lot higher. I am not a small business owner like Jack Johnson was. I am an organizer for Metropolitan Congregations United. We represent more than 30 congregations around the greater St. Louis area, and we partner with more than 20 others. This is going to hit religious institutions as well, which I know that our state government also cares about. I can't talk about the finances for a lot of our member congregations, but I can talk about my own, which is Gethsemane Lutheran Church, the one on Hampton. There's 3, only so many church names to go around, you know. I'm on church council at Gethsemane. We talk about finances all the time, just approved our next year's budget. We consistently run a deficit. We have a relatively small congregation with limited finances, and they care a lot about keeping the church going. But it's still tough for us and for a lot of religious communities. If this rate increase goes through, it's going to increase our yearly deficit this year by 75%. That's a big hit for a church like ours that is struggling to get by. So I just wanted to remind you all that in addition to the regular people that this is going to affect, who I know that you care about, and the business owners who I know that our government cares about, this is also going to affect many other religious institutions and nonprofits that are trying to run on limited finances. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate them. Chris Wilcox. Chris Wilcox. Mr. Wilcox, will you spell your name for the record?
Yes, CHRISWILLCOX.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give at this local public hearing are the truth?
I do.
Okay. What would you like to tell us this evening?
Good evening. My name is Chris Wilcox. I live in downtown West neighborhood in St. Louis City. Ameren is asking for a third rate increase in almost as many years. For the third time, people in this community are showing up in large numbers to tell them we still can't afford it. Because of the last 2 increases, Ameren's rates have risen above national inflation and local wages. I'd like to assure Ameren's representatives here that we are not stupid. We are not going to pretend that 2017 wasn't a completely different world than we live in now. A few things have happened between now and 2025. We know how much harder it has been for everyone on the margins. In most cases, for most leases, utility shutoffs are a cause for eviction. Homelessness went up 18% over the last year, which was itself an all-time high. People were sleeping on the streets last night, had to endure single-digit temperatures. Just 1 month ago, St. Louis released the first set of rental assistance since 2023. I helped organize a clinic to help people apply. I want to thank many who were in attendance today who volunteered for it. With 2 weeks' notice, we had over 20 people come in one day for help at the Julia Davis Library. The whole program was closed after less than 3 weeks because the money went that quick. Many of those who came in were also behind on the utility bills because they were using what little money they have to balance overdue rent and utilities with what little they have left. It needs to be said that Ameren is a monopoly that had at least $1 billion in profit last year. Mr. Martin Lyons Jr., their chief executive, took home $9 billion between salary, bonuses, and stock for 2024, selling a service people need to live in the 21st century. Every penny of profit is pure waste. The only reason we don't pay for what it costs to provide the service is because the state guarantees them a rate of profit so they can have a little extra money for shareholders, executives, and pointless middlemen. Every cent of profit is from our rates and the debt they can leverage based on the rates we will pay in the future. Ameren exists to take our money and lie heap a public subsidy they can expect because we know people cannot afford it. The proper rate of return on equity for a public service that we have a basic need to fund is 0. And I recommend the Ameren employees take a good, long look in the mirror tonight after doing this for the 3rd time. Really look and ask yourself, is this what you wanted to be doing with your life? Do you really want to come here next time helping a few more people sleep on the streets so Ameren can make another $6 billion in profit? You can make another $1 billion in profit next year. Is it worth it? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Wilcox. David Faven?
David, D-A-V-I-D, Flavin, F as in Frank, L-A-V as in Victor, I-N.
I'm sorry I missed the L in your name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm also a senior citizen, and once this is approved, if you approved any rate increase for Ameren, so is gas is going to come in here. You're going to see sewer come in here, wanting rate increases also. We're on fixed incomes. It's going to be harder and harder for people to make ends meet. Okay? One of the things too, Ameren just built a brand new building on Creve Coeur Mill Road. And they opened it last year. And then my other question comes back to is the infrastructure money. Biden signed into law infrastructure money. Missouri got their cut. Ameren should have got their cut too. What happened to all that money they got? Okay? And for solar power in the housing, it takes a year to get something through Ameren to get solar power in your house. They don't, and I know right now there's a lady that's at 14 months trying to get solar power in her house. Why is it taking so long? Because they can turn around and change plans and everything else on the fly to do whatever they want to do. You almost have to force them in by threatening to sue them to get something done. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Flavin. Sharon Elliott?
Hi, I'm Sharon Elliott, S-H-A-R-O-N-E-L-L-I-O-T-T.
Thank you. And swear or affirm the comments you're about to give to the commission of the truth.
I do, yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm speaking as a private citizen who shares many of the same concerns that others have shared, so I'll keep it brief. I live in the 3rd Ward of University City, which is the north of Olive, and the lower income folks in U City live up there. And the poverty rate in that area, according to the latest American Community Survey, is 14.5%. People live below the poverty line. And the state's poverty line, I think, is at 12.8% right now, so it's even worse than the state. The last figure I could find, in the 3rd Ward, the per capita income is $26,900. So this increase, will be very hard. And a lot of seniors also live in the 3rd Ward who are on fixed income. So I'm concerned about my neighbors. I'm concerned about everybody that I've heard about tonight. I'm also concerned about our health because I just think that the PSC should require Ameren to make the transition to cheaper, safer, renewable energy sources before asking ratepayers for any more money. The Labadie coal-fired plant is among the highest polluters in the country. at spewing sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, carbon dioxide. It affects the air quality in the St. Louis area, and the small particles coming from the plant worsen lung, heart, and neurological conditions. The American Lung Association gave St. Louis City a D grade for particle pollution in 2024, and a lot of that has to do with what's coming from the Labadie plant. And the coal ash ponds are polluting the area's drinking water, despite the gentleman from Ameren UE says the EPA and the DNR said there is no threat from the coal ponds. Well, there is. And I just, he also stated earlier they're not planning to spend $1.6 billion for scrubbers on the Labadie plant. No coal ash pond abatement is planned, yet they're asking for more money. You know, people can't heat their homes, and we're getting sick. So my hope is, I respectfully hope that the PSC will not approve this rate increase. And thanks for the chance to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Maisha Johnson?
Hello.
Would you state and spell your name for the record?
Maisha, M-Y-I-S-H-A, Johnson, J-O-H-N-S-O-N.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commissioner are the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Last week I submitted 25 comments from residents that work with me at Metropolitan Congregations United. They are community members and also Ameren customers. They stated that if you raise their their utilities, it would be hard for them to pay their rent. It's already hard for them to make ends meet with the income that they're making. Yes, we raise minimum wage, but it's not to livable wage. A lot of people in here repeated the same thing, that utilities could contribute to the unhoused community. But let's be real. How does it affect the children that are in school? The children that are school age, that are in subsidized housing, that are on Section 8, that have some type of programming that is paying for their housing, and their parents are having to work double jobs. They're missing time with their children and the development of their children, but also sleeping on someone's couch or floor. If they're doing that, they're not considered homeless or unhoused because they have somewhere to lay their head. But they may not be wanted there. So if we aren't able to contribute to the needs that we have, then what are we doing? We're not adding, we're not contributing, we're taking away from what can contribute to a great, thriving community for a young child to grow up in. We know that a lot of the children experience homelessness. They say that the average number is like 27%. It's more than that. It's more than that. After I have conversations with my community members and with congregation members, it's sickening. And as they said in many comments before me, people are dying. When I helped with the homeless, with the unhoused community last year, we needed diapers and Enfamil. So remember the children as you think about the rate hike, as you think about the salary increases, as you think about your programming, remember the children that are at risk. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Sarah Watkins. Would you state and spell your name for the record?
Sarah Watkins, S-A-R-A-H, best way to spell it, W-A-T-K-I-N-S.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
I do.
And what would you like to tell the commission this evening?
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Sarah Watkins. I'm a resident of St. Louis City. I also am the lead field organizer for Tenants Transforming Greater St. Louis. We are a Black-led, renter-led organization. We support renters holding their landlords accountable. I do want to uplift some of the comments that folks have made earlier about renters. But before I do that, I want to say that I am here to strongly oppose Ameren, Missouri's proposed rate hike, which will impact renters and working families the hardest. While Ameren likes to remind us that Missouri has some of the lowest utility rates in the country, let me be clear. Low is not low enough when families are already struggling to pay their bills. For many of us, even a small increase in utility costs mean falling behind on rent, skipping meals, or going without basic necessities. Like folks have said before, St. Louis City is 56% made up of renters, and we often hear that our rent is some of the cheapest in the nation, but make it make sense when people are being evicted every day for non-payment, for not having enough money to pay their bills. They're choosing between rent, utilities, medicine, food. $18 a month might not sound a lot if you have a six-figure salary or if you make $9 million a year, but $18 to low-income, fixed-income, working-class people is diapers, food, gas, bills. I'm sorry. It's more than, it's a lot. The reality is that even these rates are unaffordable for many. In October 2024 alone, Ameren, Missouri disconnected over 17,000 households due to non-payment. Additionally, over 233,000 households were behind on their bills, with an average past due amount of $199.91. Ameren is a highly profitable corporation that continues to pad its bottom line while leaving families in our communities to pick up the tab. For Ameren execs, that their bottom line is producing profits for their shareholders while exploiting their customers who rely on energy for survival. Ameren should focus on cutting waste and investing in long overdue energy efficiency and renewable energy initiatives. This rate increase is not just unjustified, it's an attack on the financial stability of Missouri households. I urge the Public Service Commission to reject this unnecessary and harmful proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Watkins. Linda Daly. Linda Daly. Christy Lyon. Would you state and spell your name for the record?
Christy Lyon, Kristielyon.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
Yes. I want to say I appreciate you being here. I understand this is probably not fun for you, but I also am probably luckier than a lot of people that I've been listening to tonight because I am not unhoused. I am struggling. It is between my utilities or food, or sometimes I pay my rent late. It's really hard to do it all, especially when more and more and more is always asked of you. And my employer doesn't give me extra money when the bills go up. It's not like they say, you know, the bills are so much higher now, so let me go ahead and give you some more. They don't do that. And I have a hard time asking because I feel like they should just offer it to me as opposed to me having to beg for that. I clean houses and it's hard work and I'm trying to get out of that. I got a bachelor's in photography and I need one more stupid credit and now photography is just gone now and I'm trying to figure things out and life is hard, and I understand people have it worse. I'm lucky, I get that. But it comes off like Corporations care about their bottom line and their yacht and their extra houses, and they don't care about little people anymore. And that's the perception for all of it. The Goodwill the CEO makes way too much money. I stopped giving to Goodwill. You know, if I could stop, I probably would. But, you know, I don't have any means to do that. So anyhow, that's my story. Thanks.
Thank you. Tommy Jones? That would be correct. I apologize that I'm horrible about reading names.
Hello, my name is Tanya Jones. It's spelled TonyajOnes.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give the commission are the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Go right ahead.
So I am speaking from a person that's from a permanent underclass. And I always speak collectively, but I'm going to personalize our pain a bit. Because St. Louis, I'm trying not to be in tears, because I hear other groups speak, even from Tower Grove, which is being gentrified. We are being gentrified out of a country that we built. And I'm a descendant of slaves, and no one speaks for us. I heard someone speaking for Latinos. I hear someone speaking for people of color and minorities. Specifically, we have books like The Broken Heart of America, The Color of Law, which is Richard Rothstein's book, and I even read a heady book called Capital in the 21st Century, and we are going to zero wealth. Everything has a disparate impact on us as an underclass. We have been priced out of 93% of all city districts. We have dealt with economic terrorism. My neighborhood that I grew up, Hamilton Heights, which I heard someone mention, Hamilton Heights looked like Afghanistan, like bombs hit it. You look from an aerial map, it looks just like green lots because they have so much disinvestment that it looks like a bomb shelter hit it, and there's 2 and 3 houses on the block. We are losing 66 Black families a month. Professor Naz Scandinova came to our Board of Aldermen to heed the warning of us hemorrhaging Black families. And the Black family now is a woman with her dependent children, because all our men have been locked up and locked out from crime bills, right? When I was a little girl, drugs flooded into our community. I can tell you how many stock pots it takes to take a bath when you're borrowing electricity from your neighbor with an extension cord and you're paying them monthly to have electricity. I can tell you how many stock pots it takes to bathe. That's how I grew up. Housing insecurity, and that is half of our city. And let me explain this to you. HELOC and all of those things are not a remedy for these public policy failures. Half of our city lives in concentrated poverty. We just came out of a pandemic where all of us, I have trauma fatigue because we had the losses. We are the most evicted. There's an eviction lab now. There's an eviction lab, a ticker that tells you in every area how many evictions, mostly African American women and their dependent children. This is an indictment on this country, that the people that built this country, every generation. I just heard one of the seniors testify to you that she lived in an area that's now no longer Black. We are displaced, erased, replace every generation. And it's happening in our city. We've lost 27,000 African Americans. We are no longer a 50-50 city. And the people who are the most insecure utility-wise, at least 48 to 50% are us. And that is an indictment on this country. And we had the nerve to invite other newcomers in that we would have to subsidize on our welfare state. And we haven't even been made whole as a group. We are old stuff. We built this country, and every generation. I finally moved from Hamilton Heights to Richmond Heights in high school. The area that was once a black neighborhood that we were limited to now is a Menards, is a Walmart. It was taken by eminent domain. And the same thing is happening to our city. Who has the capital? They talk about landlords. I went to an Action St. Louis meeting, and they were talking about penalizing poor landlords that are in areas that are just as poor as their tenants, that can't get money to, they can't get places to appraise, and the only people who are buying our city pay absolutely zero taxes. The burden is all on us. That is the big elite institutions who own 40% of our city. This is economic terrorism. I have a free food share, and the people who are the most hungry are the people who they just said, who can't qualify for all of these charity things that aren't a remedy for public policy for us all. And this increase after a pandemic where people had no job, didn't know how they were gonna eat, and now the price gouging where no one wants to take a break in their profits to give discounts to people who were suffering food insecurity, suffering housing insecurity. And this is documented. This is documented, and it's economic terrorism on my group who built this country, and it's absolutely insane. Look around in our city. Half of our city, the infamous Delmar divide, lives in concentrated poverty and is getting pushed out of our city. 93%, The Guardian had an article, 93% of all city districts across this country we've been priced out of. And this is an indictment. We cannot afford this. I am taking food to people who work every day and cannot afford eggs. And you guys are talking about another increase. I get a disconnection notice every month. And I'm one of the lucky ones. So this is a total disgrace that the commission in these economic times when most people who never thought they would be here who are hurting are hurting. This is indefinite. You should be advocates for the people, for this populist issue. This is what happens to us is going to spread to everyone else. So I'm sorry, I'm emotional, but this is personal to me, a person who moved every time the rent was due, who attended 10 schools before 8th grade. My people are hurting, and nobody cares. We just had a protest movement about us being pillaged, anything that we have.
I hate to cut you off, but I'll let you go on for...
But thank you.
Right. Thank you very much for your comments. I appreciate them. Last name Kim? I've been on a hard time with simple names, so yes, I will probably have problems with yours. I apologize.
Yes. It's Kyongbin Kim. It's Kyeongbin for the first name, Kim Kim for last name.
Could you repeat it, please?
The first name, the pronouns?
We have someone that's recording, and they need to be able to, I thought you said.
Our court reporter has to be able to take your name down, so.
Cool. Kyongbin, Kyeongbin, Kim, Kim.
Thank you so much. And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to offer the Commission are the truth?
Yes. I have a few questions to him. It's just yes or no question. Can I ask him some things?
This is a public comment portion of the hearing. This is not a question and answer. The Q&A became before this, so I'm sorry I'm not going to allow you to ask questions of Ameren at this point.
Okay, then it's fine too. So, hello, I'm Kyongbin Kim. I am the student of this school, St. Louis Community College, for nursing, and I am also immigrant. I'm very concerning that Ameren brought certainly failed policy for the Missouri. It is not just a statement, but we already watched in 2021 in Texas and Japan and many other countries like Britain. So, you know, it's just necessary for living. Do you have any lamp on your house, in your house? Do you have any? Are you living into candles? Cool. But we already know that we already have lamps and a phone and charger and everything by the electricity, which means Ameren is not just a private company, but required to provide the services for the St. Louis area. And here's kind of short lecture basic economics. If people can find any alternatives or very difficult to change it to others, that's actually not a competition. So they should provide something that they deserve. And I had a few research about the Ameren, and according to Forbes, since 2020, Ameren never recorded loss in yearly, and Ameren recorded $1.1 million in 2024. And Ameren asking continuously to the Missouri that increasing the price. Why should people pay more if they are profits like $1 billion? Where the money is going? Like I-64, like Billboard, like under like blues. Yeah, we provide the blues to the like resources to athletes. They're just 10 or 12 people, not the entire the county or city. Like, is there anything, any plan for the increasement salary for their workers? They don't have any plan. Are you got 70%, 17% increase your salary? Probably not. And if their workers cannot increase by 17% of the raise, why people should pay more, pay 17% more of the electricity bills? So, and heat and cold disease actually related with the electricity bills. It shows by Japan's case. Japan, after Japan privatized their electricity company, their cold disease and heat disease, it just enormously increased, and they can't solve it until now. If Ameren paid for all the medical fees and medical stuff to their patients and hospitals and the medical workers, it could be okay, but are they? We can, you know, they said they're a perfect company. We cannot force them. And individually, as an immigrant, I don't have resources to survive or handle the situation when bills get higher and I can't pay that. Like, I have to just rely on generosity from some good people. And if you have to rely on good people's like generosity to just survive, that is just wrong society. I just watched that. It's a little personal, but I watched that I'm a representative, just smiling when people just talking about their dies, their family and then friends. I couldn't laugh. I couldn't even smiling, because I know some people that just have to choose. It's not even a choose. It's not a choice. They just have death. That is one and only choice they can choose if they cannot pay the bill. And I know so many people that they just have to die. So, please, 17%? Even the minimum wage of Missouri doesn't raise at the 17%, like even entire 10 years. So please, take a consideration about this. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Jackie Kinnessy?
That's good. It's Jackie, Jackie, Keneally, Kinealy.
I'm sorry, would you pronounce your last name again?
Keneally. Keneally?
Keneally?
Yes.
Thank you so
You
much.
got it.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
Yes. Thank you. My name is Jackie Keneally. I live in St. Louis City. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'll keep my comments brief. It is past my bedtime, personally. I'm fortunate enough that my family would be able to afford this rate increase, but sitting here listening to all the questions and the testimony, I hope and trust that the commission will carefully consider the testimony of others who are people who have to plan for every single dollar of their monthly budget. The reason I came here tonight is that I'm a mom. My kids are 1.5 and 3. And I worry every day what the world will be like for them when they're my age if we don't make the transition away from fossil fuels quickly enough. You mentioned that if someone else gets up here and makes a testimony or says something that we agree with, that we can just say that. Miss Elise Schaefer, representing the Missouri Coalition for the Environment, articulated really powerfully my own concerns. So if the record could show just ditto on that, big copy and paste. To hear that Ameren is increasing our rates without doing more to retire its coal plants quickly, to invest more aggressively in renewable energy, or to access what I understand is millions of dollars in federal money available to it to do such, seems just ridiculous and irresponsible to me, given where we're at as a country and as a globe. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This one says that they would like to testify last. I don't really do that. I take you in the order you signed up. So if you would like to speak, now's your opportunity. And that's, is it Merle? Thank you, Mr. Merle.
John Howard Merle, John-Howard-Merle.
And you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
Yeah, yes, sir. Okay, just for the record, we've had 5, 10, 15, 20, 36, about 36 people. All of them, based on my assessment, have come down against this rate increase. Okay. I understand it. I've been in a situation many times myself that all these people have articulated about, and thank you for those who have remained to hear. I appreciate that. I wanted to go last simply because I will be the only person in the room tonight that is supporting Ameren UE in their position, knowing full well, because I have been down this road a few times before, Ameren, I cannot remember in the past what Ameren UE has ever gotten what they asked for, 100%. Generally, there's negotiations between the company and there's negotiations between the commission, and they come to some sort of agreement understanding. And so what's on the paper and the board, it's a lot, there's no doubt, but it doesn't generally end that way. So in full disclosure, I am not an employee of Ameren. I am not nobody in my family is employed by the company, and I don't work for anybody who's a vendor of the company. So I think that needs to be said, because why am I taking the position of supporting them? Well, I happen to be a stockholder. Uh-oh. Put the guns down, please. Anyway, I bought Ameren UE stock around the late to mid 70s. And I bought my first 100 shares based on 3 reasons. The first reason was that at that time, and what I'm about to share is pretty much still true today, at that time, Ameren UE had the lowest cost electricity of a publicly traded utility in the country. So, wow. Everybody else around us spends a lot more money than we do, okay? The second reason that I went ahead and I wanted to invest was that while they were highly regulated and priced at the bottom of the market, they still managed to produce a dividend. And for those who don't know what a dividend to a shareholder is a share of the profit that the company makes. And so they were at the bottom and still yet produced dividends, which made that an attractive reason. And the third reason I decided this was a good idea was because as long as I have lived, I have never met anybody who goes home and flips the switch and the gas lamps come on. We have electricity. We have to have it. And things get relatively interesting when you consider that back in the 1970s, if you had an interruption in your service because of a storm or that sort of thing, you were out for you could be out for a very short period of time, or you could be out for a week. You probably lost some sleep because it was too hot, air conditioning wasn't working, or you lost sleep because it was too cold. And invariably, you probably would lose the food in the refrigerator. So that was in the 70s. Here we are, 2025, okay? Electricity has reached the level that is as important as the air you breathe, the water you drink, or the food you eat. Electricity has to be there. And if we don't have it after 5 or 6 days, your elected officials are on the phone to the Oval Office to say, we need an emergency declaration because we gotta have power back now. And because of science and innovation, we have really put ourselves into even a bigger corner. Almost every other person who came to this mic tonight carried with them a cell phone. There weren't any around in the 70s. We actually had telephones that had landlines, and we had to go and pick up the receiver and dial to talk to people. Well, in an outage in that time period, guess what? You could still make a phone call. Independent. Today, 2025, many people have gotten rid of their phones and their landlines, and they're relying on what? Cell phones. Great. What happens if you don't have some place to charge that phone, folks? How do you communicate? Ugh. There are a number of people today who own electrically driven cars, battery operated. Where are you going to charge it? If you don't have electricity, you have to have it. That's all there is to it. It's even more important now than it was back in the 70s. I have invested, I've gotten those dividends. I have never taken any of those dollars and put them in my pocket. They have all been reinvested every year. I now have a lot of holdings, paid taxes all along the way. So I have an interest in seeing that they get some consideration. Trust me, folks, whatever it says is printed, that's what they're asking for, they're not gonna get. They never do. So I thought it was important because to come out and say, you need to understand some things. You're living in a country where the competition, you're paying less than anybody else in the country for the power you have to have. It's not free. So, those were my reasons for supporting the company. Those are the reasons why I bought the stock. I understand everybody. I'm not here to disparage anything that I've heard this evening because it's all real. I've been there myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Merrill. Christina Marion?
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Okay. I'm Christina Marion, K-R-I-S-T-I-N-A, Marion, M-A-R-I-A-N.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Earlier, I suggested to Ameren to look within their own company instead of asking the community for a rate increase, to look within their own company and see how much the CEOs are getting paid and hire execs that are getting paid to maybe decrease them from the millions, maybe down to the thousands. And also to look within the community to see like what companies may have lights on during the day, like in their parking lots, for example. There's parking lots with lights on during the day, don't need to be on. Also, abandoned houses that don't have their power shut off from the street to the house can actually still use power. So to double check those facilities as well. It may not singularly help, but like, you know, obviously if there's thousands of homes or hundreds of homes that are abandoned that still have power running, it could help decrease the cost as well. So I think first and foremost, that would be really beneficial. I do not agree with this increase. I do not agree on an increase for a mostly non-sustainable, fragile power supply company that obviously hurts us and the planet. As we all know, pollution is real and it affects our health. We have the right to clean air and water, but yet we pay for an increase in medical bills. Maybe Ameren should pay us. Also, I want to share that ever since I could remember what school was like, we talked about pollution and what we can do to change that. Me, you, the community. But not what the owners and executives of the actual power plants can do for us and to help the environment. As pollution continues, the summers get worse, which will increase the need for, you know, cool air. It'll increase the energy costs for us. This is an endless cycle, and it will continue to be an endless cycle. It's been going on my whole 38 years of life, and even before then. When will this cycle stop? Mother Earth sustains everything and everyone within and on her, not Ameren. We are standing on Earth. This is made from Earth. Regardless of Ameren, if Mother Earth was not here, we would be dead. Also, side note, some home insurers do not cover your roof if you have solar on it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Jeffrey Schaefer? And Mr. Schaefer, would you spell your name for the record?
Hi, thank you. Jeffrey Schaefer, A-E-F-F-R-E-Y-S-C-H-A-E-F-E-R.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm that the comments you're about to give to the commission are the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right. What would you like to tell us?
Thank you. I am a happy customer of Ameren. Thank you so much for maintaining the grid. I hope it improves wherever it needs. You guys are awesome. I thank you to the commission for being advocates for the people. I think the people are our greatest resource. I like to speak from experience of a farmer, environmentalist, contractor. I've worked on houses all my life. I studied solar design and install, or photovoltaic design and install from SEI, and I expected that we would have solar panels on houses everywhere, but now I'm glad we don't. I've done a 180 on the solar thing. It was less than 10 years as a contractor, I start seeing leaks from the going cheap on the install, not putting the weather boot on where the clamp is. But, and that raises insurance rates. That's just, but weatherization, my own home, I've saved more than a third on my my energy bills. And I thought people would be doing that, but they don't. They want it for free, they spend a few. Even friends that are environmentalists, I see open windows and big old cracks in the doors, and I just don't see people doing it. I got very frustrated. One of my family members let me do weatherization on their house, saved them 45% on their energy bills, gas, electric. My electric bill in the summer is very low. I don't run an air conditioner. I have a small fan. It's great. That works great for me. So I'm very frustrated about that. But I read this book, The Energy Evolution by Victor Schauberger, and I've only read it once and probably need to read it at least 5 times, but he had many designs. He called fire the lowest form of electricity. The magic temperature range was like 39.2 Fahrenheit, and he had water implosion machines and a process of turning water making water combustible. And I think recently Toyota came out with a water-fueled car.
Mr. Schaefer, all new design innovations aside, do you have comments about the rate increase that Ameren has proposed?
I would think that if you would not do the solar and the wind, reinvest in other ways to make electricity. I'm all for capitalism, communism, no good. For the environmentalists in the room, the Bolsheviks lined up the environmentalists, got them in power and shot them. So that's no good. Enjoy your wages. Thank you. Thank you. Run your company. I'm a great, but I don't think a rate increase is necessary. It looks like they're making great money, and Missouri's full of water. We can turn water into electricity. Why are we digging up coal and running coal trains? I just think there's a better way. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Alberto Patino. Alberto Patino. That's the last name I have on my list tonight of those people that signed up to speak. Apologize. If you were unable to comment tonight, or if you didn't sign up, if you have friends who would like to make comments, or if you get home and you realize that there was something you wanted to let the commission know and you were unable to let them know, you can still make comments in this case by contacting the email address pscinfo@psc.mo.gov to put in comments that way. By contacting the Office of the Public Counsel. They've been very gracious about helping people get comments to the commission on cases, or by going to the PSC's webpage, and you will see a link to leave comments on cases. If you do that, you will need to know the case number for this case, which I believe is ER-2024-0319. 2024-0319. Thank you, Mr. Pringle, for correcting me there. Again, I'd like to thank everyone who took the time to show up tonight and provide comments. I know that utility rates can be a quite emotional topic, so I appreciate everybody coming to tell the commission what your thoughts are. This is our one chance to hear from you. Commissioner Holzman, would you like to make closing remarks?
Thank you. Is that on? On behalf of Chairwoman Hahn and the entire commission, we do want to thank you for coming out tonight. We heard from 40 individuals who took their time to be here on a Wednesday night until 10 o'clock in the evening to share your opinions. And we know that for every person that had the bravery to stand up and to tell us how they feel, there are a lot of other people that couldn't make it tonight that could potentially share the same position you have. This is a process. This is the first step in this process. We will also have evidentiary hearings that will present the evidence by the company and from staff. We will evaluate that, and then we will make an ultimate decision. And I would like to say that, this is the 5th year that I've been doing this, and this was one of the more robust hearings that we've had. Over 40 folks took their time tonight, and it's very cold outside. You could do a lot of other things. And I'd also like to say that, we also know that the passions do run high on both sides. The company's doing the best that they can to provide you safe and reliable power. We're doing the best that we can to make sure that that power comes to you at a reasonable, affordable cost. And hearing from you helps us and helps them formulate the best possible path forward on behalf of the people that they serve. So I just want to thank you for taking your time, and we do appreciate it. And have a great night and drive home safely.
Very well said. Thank you very much. And we can go off the record, and I will adjourn this hearing.